You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet podcast. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. Phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any new callers today, so let's just continue on. So we'll get started with Bill from South Carolina.
Hello, Ryan. This is Bill in South Carolina. Haven't called since the end of last year.
Yeah, how you doing?
Just wanted to call in just to say how much fun was that? I mean, seeing that defense play that aggressively and get after it like that, I mean, how much fun was that? How long have we been waiting for that?
Yeah.
So, very excited, and our offensive line is playing very well. Got some holding penalties, but still, if you're not holding, you ain't trying, I guess. But overall, great. Jordan able to rest another week, so come back for the Vikings. And just go, Pack, go, man. Fabulous, and keep it charging. All right, later.
Heck yeah, man. Well, it's good to hear from you again. And absolutely, I love when things start going well. I mean, the season starts, we start winning games, and people come back. It's like, it's such a happy thing for me when people, hey, it's been like a year. How you doing? It's like, all right, we're back now, man. We're in it. Yeah, no, fantastic. I don't know if we could have asked for anything better. Malik got us. I keep wanting to say again because I just recorded the other podcast, so I've covered a lot of these topics. So excuse me if I say again as though I said something before that you haven't heard, because I don't know. I don't know what I said when. But assuming Malik is done, which I think most Packer fans are, I'm relatively confident we'll see Jordan, but I'm still kind of iffy on it. But let's just assume for the moment he's done. What an awesome thing he did for this team. I mean, we could have easily gone 0-3 to start the season, and that is a heck of a hole to climb out of, especially with Jordan. Let's again, assuming he plays, Jordan coming back with a decent amount of rust against maybe the best defense in football right now, Minnesota, which, I'll take all the hits on that. I was not impressed with their team in any capacity. I don't know what it's going to be down in the future, but it is what it is right now. I mean, it is a stifling, terrifying type of defense. So it's not what you would want coming off an 0-3 stretch with a quarterback that hasn't played in a while. So, I mean, Malik, what he was able to do, and of course, everybody else contributed. The guys around him rallied. Matt LaFleur, fantastic job. Halfley in the defense, rallying, and the takeaways are out of control with this defense right now. But yeah, it's exciting times. I'm happy that the team's playing the way that they are. They keep finding ways to win, and so no matter how complex or difficult things are in the future, even with this Vikings game, which again we'll look at it in the coming days and try to assess what the heck is going on here. Hopefully, it's not terrifying news. I got to do that. I haven't looked at what Minnesota did this last game. You know what? The curiosity's killing me. I appreciate the call, Bill. Just give me a second here. I need to know, like, right now. Tell me Darnold was bad. He threw 4 touchdowns, but somehow, please tell me he was bad. Okay. He wasn't elite. So he had his first game, again, just going off PFF grades, 86, and then it was a 73 and then a 72. So he's doing good. But it's getting worse every week, and that's what matters. All right, sorry. Nico, what's going on here?
Hey, this is Nico calling from Idaho.
Yeah.
So just finishing up the Rams game. And I know it doesn't really matter, but I think it's better for us if the Rams would have beat the Niners, because then they both have 2 losses. And it's good to see that the guy that gets cooked to set up the game-winning field goal is, once again, Devondre Campbell. Good for him. Way to go. Anyways, about today's game that matters. Gosh, what can you say? I mean, a lot of good, some bad, but I mean, you're not going to ever not have some bad. I mean, I kind of bummed for Rashawn because I feel like he had a great game.
Yeah.
And stupid Preston screwed his. How do you line up off sides? That's like something a rookie can't even do. It's like, what the?
Yeah.
When I played football, you'd look, you line up at the line, you look at the ump on the line judge, and he would like point you back if you're too far, or point you forward if you're not. I guess he's smarter than that. But anyways, and I felt like Rashawn was in the backfield a lot, and then Preston gets 2 gumpy sacks. Anyways, the defensive line. I mean, 8 sacks in a game. That's nuts. Malik, Ryan, I pointed it out in the chat today. You kind of lied to us all. You said there's no way Malik can duplicate that, performance of last week, and he freaking did. But don't. I mean, I was
to be clear. I think this is the second time you've done it. You're kind of right, but you're using a little bit stronger language than I think I did. I don't think I said there's no way. Maybe I did. I don't know. I certainly would have believed that there's no way we should expect it. And I'll stand by that. But I don't think I said there's no way it was going to happen. I'm just saying. I try to be a little careful with my language. Sometimes I get a little hyperbolic.
Boat, I was like, there's no way. It was like too perfect. He can't do it twice. And man, it's credit to him. He definitely looked a little more calm and collect. I saw some elusiveness pretty good. Like there's a couple times he would run and like kind of get close and just sprint a little, buy a little time. Even his sacks, some were on him, but sometimes he would just run the ball out. That's fine. Jair, obviously, hope someone got a recording of him talking after the game. Gosh, everything, man. Everyone did good. Wilson, the running back, I tell you what, he's looking more and more like a good pickup, man. I like him. I don't know what it is, but when Jacobs is having a hard time, because there's no holes, he comes in there and boom, he's rushing for 5-6 yards to carry, and then it opens up Jacobs too. So now the Niners are trying to last the Jefford now. This could never. I mean, if it looks like, anyways. Honestly, it's a coach, good coach, man. I tell you what, just amazing that the game he called made their defense look pathetic. I don't even think they had 100 yards offense before the first half. I mean, and they had that one good drive the first time, and after that, nothing. So good on coach. Great team win, and let's hope Jordan's back next week. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting excited. I was just flipping through the X over here, and Clayton's posting a bunch of the clips from, he's going back and watching the film on it and whatnot, and he's seeing the same stuff that I saw, what was it, his rookie year for Christian, when Christian wasn't having an impact. And I went back and watched, and I just saw Christian was open every play, and he's just killing people, and I'm like, this guy's going to be amazing. And he's posting clips of, he's just burning safeties, and it's one of those things where Malik is fantastic, but there was stuff left on the field. There's no doubt about it. And you look at that and go, Jordan would have hit that. That's a deep shot right there to Christian Watson. And I think a lot of that was kind of left alone. I think they were willing to risk some of that because they felt that Malik was not going to uncork that, and that probably made it harder on the run, and et cetera, right? That's where the benefit of Jordan comes back, because now it's like, we can't let Christian just go flying by people like that. We got to really watch that guy. You start pulling up the safeties. You start playing a little bit, more cautious. It starts opening up things underneath for the run game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm excited. I just, when I was poking through looking at the Vikings quarterback, one of the best things I saw, and I guarantee people are going to be like, well, that's why PFF is stupid. Whatever. Their defensive grades were garbage. Terrible. I think Grenard, who I think is hurt right now, I will see what his status is. I think Grenard was their highest graded player with like a 72. I think he might have been the only one with a 70. The point of that would be, and from every little bit I saw, that the Texans were killing themselves. That's not to say the defense didn't do anything, and maybe they were getting up in their head, whatever. But they'd show the game, and they're constantly in Vikings territory. And then there'd be a penalty, and then another penalty. And then he would throw a pass way over somebody's head. And it's like, listen, credit to their defense, no doubt about it. What the heck did they do? What did they do? Other than let a team self-destruct in front of their face. Other little things. I looked at Justin Jefferson. He looks good. It's also the worst year of his career so far. His Justin Jefferson's been like 90, 90, 90, 90, 70. That's what he looks like right now. Is he good? Heck yeah. Is he a top wideout? Nope. Darnold is still like a top 10 quarterback, but that's only based on week 1. Justin Jefferson's having his worst year. Aaron Jones is still Aaron Jones, although he did have one terrible game so far out of 3. I just, it's one of those things you can't count them out. It's just like when I constantly would talk about the Chiefs, and it's like that defense is going to fall apart. They don't have the talent, and somehow they just keep performing. And it's like, oh, their offensive line's not good, and they just keep making it work, and they don't have a run game because they don't have a running back. It just keeps working. So I'm not going to declare anything. But there's part of me that looks at the Vikings, and it's like, I can't help but wonder if this is a little bit of a paper tiger. I mean, massive credit to the players for putting together what they're doing. The coach, I think, deserves the utmost credit and respect. But, I mean, it's on such an unstable foundation. You ever watch, this is a terrible example, but it just popped into my head. What is that Gordon Ramsay show where there's like 3 levels? Next Level Chef. And the concept, I got to watch every one of his shows. I'm a freaking addict. I think his food looks like garbage anyways, but I like him. I like his shows. He's got one show called Next Level Chef. And the concept essentially, that there's 3 judges, but they each have teams, whatever. But there's 3 levels. The top level has all the premium stuff, and they get to pick the ingredients first. So you get the best ingredients, you get the best equipment, etc. The middle one is what you might find in like a regular kitchen, whatever, I don't know. Then the bottom one is like dull knives and like crap that doesn't work, like it's garbage, whatever. I feel like the Vikings are winning the competition in that bottom kitchen, and maybe they're just better chefs, and they're just going to keep winning. But at some point you look at it and it's like, dude, you can't just keep winning with that. You got terrible tools. You got the worst ingredients. I'm not saying they have the worst roster in the world, but there are teams doing a lot worse with more than what they have. It's just, I don't know. I'm hopeful that the Packers are the team that is able to at least expose the fact that, kudos to you for doing what you're doing against struggling teams. And I know that sounds stupid. They just beat the crap out of the Texans. So I that's probably a moot point, but I'm just saying the Packers need to be the kind of team where it's like, you just don't have the firepower to handle this. Your 40-year-old safety is not going to cover Christian Watson. Your bum pass rushers are not going to be able to generate all these pressures. Your nothing interior line, and they do have one good linebacker, why did they give them up? We'll talk about that at another time. Not going to be able to handle our run game. You can't handle Jordan. You can't handle the receive. You can't handle it, all right? And Darnold, give me a break. Against what we got, there's no way. Too much confusion out there. Guys going. I'm watching the tape watchers right now posting up stuff. And I think it was Ross Uglum. He posted up a clip of a coverage thing, and guys are moving all over. And he just said, what is this? Somebody tell me what. I don't know what this coverage is. Somebody, Colts guy, a Colts film guy, he said, that looks like a Saban coverage, which he does have Saban principles, but it's funny that somebody has to go back to Saban to say that's one of his things. You don't see that around here very often. Point is, I'm off on a tangent. Nico, I hope I touched on something that you said. I'll shut up. Please go.
And in a food note.
Yes. I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten today.
Spoke of some ribs today. I got one baby back and one St. Louis. Yes. They run stuff like.
By the way, I want to know from the food people, baby back or St. Louis? I'm a little torn because obviously I think most people generally grew up, if you're not like a barbecue guy or whatever, you grew up with like baby back because, I want my baby back. If you go to a restaurant, they're probably baby back. Not usually accustomed to the other ones, and then you get the other ones and they're like tiny and they're like, it doesn't have some. I do think there's some merit though to the St. Louis. And I say that because one time I had, the extra trimmings and I didn't know what to do with it. So I just cooked it separate after I cut it off the ribs and I ate it without sauce or anything. And it was so like fatty and delicious. I think if you slap barbecue sauce all over everything and it all tastes the same, maybe baby back's the way to go. But it's some good meat. And I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm freaking jacked up today. I don't know what the problem is.
$8 a piece. Like, hello.
Ooh, there you go.
I just do a rub.
Yep.
Smoke it for about an hour, about 2.5, little over 2 hours, then wrap it for an hour.
That's pretty quick.
When I wrap it, I put
you cook them high?
Butter, maple syrup, and brown sugar on it, and that just freaking kills it, bro.
Yeah, man, that sounds good.
And this morning for breakfast,
hit me with a recipe, dude. I want to try that one time. I'm trying to do different. I was talking to my half Mexican attorney, and I was telling him, like, I feel like we're at the stage now where we've kind of done a little bit of everything. We kind of have like a general way that we do things. Like there's a way that I do pork butt and there's a way that I do ribs. And I've kind of, I don't want to say I've got it down. I haven't perfected anything, but there's not a lot of room for growth here. So it's like, it's time to really expand and either try new stuff, try new rubs, try new techniques and principles. So hit me with what you got. I haven't tried any of that. Let me know what you do.
The Camp Chef, I made smashed cinnamon roll breakfast sandwiches.
Oh, my Lord.
You take each little cinnamon roll that you get in the Grand's little tube, and you smash them down to like little patties. They become the buns, and you put some breakfast stuff in between them. It's
sausage and eggs and cheese. Oh,
yeah. So anyways, hey, go Pack Go, man. I hope Love plays next.
By the way, I mean, please keep the food stuff coming. I've been really good with my eating lately, so I can't eat stuff like that. So I appreciate that that's the best thing I've heard in a long time. But like if you ate something good that's not that, I'd love to hear about that too, because I can't.
He was running, what they showed before the game, him, doing some drills. He looks like he's running pretty good.
Oh, he's fine.
I cannot imagine he's not going to be 100%. And even if he's 90, let's do it. It's a great team. It's a home game. Him coming back and beating the Vikings next week would be amazing. So, go Pack Go.
I really do think that's an underappreciated point, is the fact that it's a home game. I don't know why. It's obvious why, but I really feel like if it was in Minnesota, I'd be like, I don't think we can win it. And in Green Bay, it really feels like it's that big of a swing. It's almost like I can't imagine losing at home with Jordan Love to Sam Darnold and the Vikings. I can't. But if it was in Minnesota, which it will be eventually, it's like, I don't like playing there. It's a tough environment. I feel like the Packers don't do very well. I know that historically, if you look at it, maybe it's just perception. I don't know. But it feels like of all the rivalries, that's the one that I feel like makes the biggest difference. Maybe Detroit is kind of that way too. Chicago doesn't matter, obviously. San Francisco doesn't matter because we lose no matter where we play. I feel like Minnesota might be the biggest one where if I could pick where I get home field advantage of any of the teams we play, Minnesota might be that team. It would have been Detroit for sure, but Detroit almost kind of doesn't matter too. We kind of horse a piece either way. I don't know. I don't like playing in Minnesota. I don't know why. It's disgruntling or something. I would say let's go to a break, but we got a 9-second call from Dakota. What's up?
27-24. The Rams beat the Niners.
It's so good.
That makes me happy.
Do you understand? Do you understand how good laughing at the enemy is going to be? We have to do the 49ers, and I want to lay it on thick. I don't even know who these people are. I'm going to find them. We're going to learn about some. I've done Dallas. Dallas, they got some great content creators. They got guys that are just. It's like I know the channel. I'll go there right now. I haven't done it in a while, but I know them. Bears, obviously, we've done maybe a little bit of Lions, but we can't touch that this week. Minnesota, but the 49ers. Ooh, it's going to be fun. We got to do Dallas, Chicago, 49ers. I don't know who else we should do. Hold on a second. What else are we going to do here? I think that's it. I mean, we could do Atlanta or Arizona, but I don't want to. Look, it's the second time now that a division rival has spanked somebody, and it's worked to our benefit. We had 49ers last week and Arizona this week. I mean, listen, Arizona is not as big of a deal as Detroit, but it is a big deal. I mean, again, we're competing with the entire NFC. I would rather Arizona have won, but Arizona also looked dominant. Same with New Orleans. Both teams are like, holy crap, they might be a problem. And then they pull up and just get the crap beat out of them. It's like, all right, well, that solves that, I guess. So everybody's kind of keeping everybody in check a little bit. It still feels pretty wide open, and I like it. But I think we'll keep it to that. We got 49ers. We got the Bears, which is going to be glorious, and we got to make fun of Dallas. It might be the only time, because if Dallas continues to spiral, it's just going to be whatever. But it is fun, and I enjoy it. And I know most Packer fans hate Dallas even more than I do. So as a tribute to y'all. All right, let's take our first break. We'll come back and hear from Jim in Arkansas.
Hey, Ryan. I just want to say, man, I think you are a prognosticator. I mean, you sat around on your podcast and told us about this dream that you had that maybe Justin Fields would go somewhere else and he would become great and Caleb Williams would come in and be terrible. But then, Fields is out in Pittsburgh and they're trying him at like kick returner and stuff because they got Russell Wilson in front of them. Then what do you know? Justin Fields comes the starter there and is tearing it up. Oh, man, he looks great. And Caleb, that offense is
bad.
So much fun to watch because they're so bad at everything. I can't wait until we play them. I mean, the Packers, I don't know. You'll hear enough about the Packers. I just wanted to tell you that, right? Hey, take care.
Appreciate you, Jim. It's funny because, again, I get annoyed with the idea that, like too big to fail or whatever, but there are certain people, they're just too talented. There's no way they're going to bust out. And Caleb was one of those guys. And to be fair, I bought into it. I mean, certainly there's a percentage thing there. A 7th round quarterback might have like a 0.01% to be Brock Purdy, whereas a first round quarterback, it's maybe, especially if you're like the number one pick, like 50% or something. I don't know. But I just saw today they were showing the highlights, college highlights of Johnny Manziel. And let me tell you something. That dude was a good football player. He was dangerous with his legs. You want to talk about those like crazy off-platform, cross-the-body type throw. I mean, he did that all the time. And so it's like, you go back and look at Caleb and you look at some of those crazy throws and it's like, man, I don't know. Like, he's got some issues, but this guy, I think he might be really good. Like, he might be Pat Mahomes. And I understand, like, Caleb's got other issues, the offensive line and blah, 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 the play calling. I get all that. But, the idea that, well, look how talented he is. Obviously, he's going to be good. I don't know, man. We've seen some really skilled. I think we forget. Guys get into the NFL and they bust out, and we just pretend that they weren't these elite players in college, and really they were. They were fantastic. Yes, they had problems. Everybody has negatives. That's the thing that people want to go back to. You look at Johnny Manziel and whatever. Anytime you try to say, man, he looked really good, and he's, you can put him in that same pile, they want to discredit that. Like, oh, no, everybody knew. I knew he was going to, but look at all the negatives. Bro, everybody's got negatives. You can do the same thing with Caleb. I did say Caleb had the same problems that Justin Fields had. It was the processing. He was an elite player, but he's a tick slow, and in the NFL, that's going to make a big difference. I could have been wrong, but to be so dishonest as to sit there and go, I knew. No, you didn't. The bottom line is there are really, really talented guys in college. You watch them and say, first of all, there's almost no chance this guy busts out. He's too talented. And I forgot what the second one is. It doesn't matter. But no, it just made me think of that because it is funny that it's funny, but it's shocking that we're sitting here again. It's shocking that they're somehow worse because they clearly got better. As much as I talked about, they didn't get that much better and you still have the offensive line, I'd lay into them about why they should not trust themselves. But part of that is just me talking trash. At the same time, I mean, there's no doubt. Look at the wide receivers. Granted, Keenan Allen's hurt, but all that's doing is saving him from ridicule like the rest with the rest of the guys. It's just a disaster across the board. I mean, some of the stats look good because they were so inflated because they threw it 50 times, over 50 times. But it's a mess. It's a mess. It just, I mean, I'll take credit for it, I guess, but, for willing it into existence, obviously. But it's talking about percentages, man, it's got to be. It's nearly impossible that they're this bad. I don't know how we could be this lucky. How are we so fortunate? What did we do to deserve this? To have Jordan Love hit as the third quarterback, he goes down. Malik, who is a known bad quarterback, comes in, no time in Green Bay, is one of the best quarterbacks in that time. Then we get our guy back, ready to rock and roll, who happens to be our franchise quarterback. Like, this is stupid how easy this is for the Packers. It's like that, what was it, Goodwill Hunting or whatever it is. Do you understand how easy this is for me? I don't know what we did. And like you said, to have Justin Fields succeeding somewhere else, it's like, Maybe the question is, what did the Bears? I think that's it. I think the Bears are cursed, and the only reason the Packers are good is because the Bears are cursed. I don't know what they did, but thank you. It must have been something after that Super Bowl win. Maybe you all sold your soul. Somebody just said, you know what? It's funny because you hear that all the time. People, it's more important to win Super Bowls than to get all these playoffs and everything else. I would absolutely trade, 30 years of playoffs if it meant one Super Bowl. People say that crap all the time. Somebody said it, but they said it to Satan. And Satan's like, all right, dude, sell me your soul and I will give you your wish. And he got to watch a Super Bowl. This team that's just stupid, right? Quarterback, but whatever. They figure it out. They got a tight end and the fridge and a good running back and a crazy coach. And they win a Super Bowl. And then it's just an eternal hell. And whoever that is living in misery because he's like, bro, I don't have a soul, and this sucks. I was wrong. I was way off. And by the way, anybody that acts that way, like, oh, playoffs don't mean anything, bro. It's stupid. You want to be the Bears fan over the last 30, 40 years? Is that what I'll give you the Super Bowl. Let's go back 40 years. You want that? No, you don't. Don't lie. You're saying that because you're mad, because you're not getting what you want. Don't lie. It's been way better being a Packer fan the last 40 years. Even going through the 80s. Take the 80s too when the Packers sucked. Packers have had way better days. Daniel from California.
Hey, Ryan, Daniel from California.
What's up?
Just two things. I called the sacks. I didn't think it'd be 8. I was thinking, oh, yeah, sack breakout game. We're going to get 5.
Yep.
8? What? Sack fumble? Hate sacks. It's a lot. I called it. I picked the game. I looked at. You look at the Colts line. You look at the Eagles line. It's like, damn, these guys are actually really good. Look at their PFF grades. And then you look at the Titans, and it's like, oh my god, these guys are garbage. We're basically going up against, guys that are going to be Pro Bowlers at every position across the last 2 weeks, and they're going against a group of backups. And it's just like, yeah, we're going to get at least 5 sacks, and then it's like 8. And then the other point I want to talk about, Malik Willis. Not only a fantastic game, but what a fantastic person.
Yeah.
And I love the Packers for prioritizing good people. You hear them before the game. It's like, no, these guys paid me. They brought me into this. I'm thankful for what the Titans did for me.
Yeah.
And then he's like, it's not, not a revenge game. After the game, he's all humble about it, and he's just excited, very mature. It's just like, I freaking love the guy. Love is a similar dude. He's just very chill and very just humble about everything. And I think Malik Willis has earned himself a starting job somewhere in the NFL. Our 7th rounder is probably at least the 4th or 5th now. So.
Oh yeah.
We'll see how long he stays with our team. I doubt he's getting traded this year, but maybe in the off season they might trade up and get a pick for him. If he's got to play one more game for whatever reason, I don't want anything to happen to Love, but if he's got to play another game, he shows more good stuff, he might become a 3rd or 4th rounder. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I freaking love this guy, just the character, and there's something gratifying when you see somebody with such high character get rewarded for work ethic and all this stuff, man. Just very happy for the guy, happy for the defense. Xavier McKinney, amazing. Jair, amazing. Happy. Go back, go.
It's like I've said before, man, everything's great when you're winning. Once things start to go, I mean, really, I don't want to detract from what you're saying because you're right. I mean, Malik is a great human being. Jordan seems like a fantastic young guy. Just awesome. I mean, everybody seems great. I love our wide receivers, the way that they approach things, humble, motivated, etc. But you look at last year, what happened with the defense? All of a sudden, Jair spiraling, and there's like rebellion and all this crazy stuff. But no, I mean they're a great crew, and I think that they're super hungry right now, and I'm excited. I mean they're at their best as far as I'm concerned going into Minnesota, which is what matters. I mean that needed to happen against Tennessee. They needed to see what they could do. to be like breaking records and like we haven't seen a defense like this in 20 years or whatever the case may be. So keep the motivation up. Keep the motivation up. Let's take a break. We'll be back and hear from Bramble.
Hey, Packy, you ready to bleep? So remember in the YouTube chat how I was talking all Jair? Well, here I go.
I don't know what happened at the end there. And I tried to just bleep the swear, but I think I got to be generous with, sometimes they sneak up on you. I want to just get the word and it's like, oh man, they get that word out so fast. I think what happened here, and I could be mistaken. Bramble, tell me if I'm wrong. He says, remember on the YouTube channel when I was talking all that junk about Jair? Well, here I go. And then he did that thing. I have to assume that was sort of like I take it back at least for now. Way to go, Jair. Something like that. I don't know. Yeah, somebody can interpret. I don't know, but I appreciate that, Bramble. I do. I like what you did for us. So thank you.
Happy Victory Monday, Ryan Kyle from Madison.
What's up, man?
What? Just a beautiful freaking day. Oh. Just a beautiful day. Oh. It's sunny out.
By the way,
I'm smiling.
Packers win, right? What happens? It was horrid yesterday. I say horrid. I like the heat. 90 degrees down where the Packers played. It's probably 80 up here in Wisconsin. Packers win. You wake up the next morning. It is fall. It's, 40 degrees. The leaves are on the ground. It's football weather. It's a magical thing that happened. It's a magical thing.
I'm doing the thing at the grocery store, when you see somebody else with like a Packer shirt on, you kind of give them the smile.
Yeah,
like, yep.
Yeah, dude.
Yep, all's right in our world. Our team won.
I know you're having a good day.
One of the things I noticed watching Willis play for us, we had Rodgers all these years, and then Love, obviously, but, it's a lot of, I get really nervous something's going to happen to those guys, when the franchise quarterback's out there, and obviously I don't want anything to happen to Willis, but these last 2 weeks have felt a little bit like house money. Like I just kind of relaxed.
Sure,
and it's
sure.
Like, well, everybody expects us to lose.
I certainly was that way in Tennessee. And again, shame on me, but again, I picked the Packers to win, but I decided that I was going to go into the game assuming we lose and being okay with that and just trying to enjoy the game. And it really does make it more enjoyable. I'm going to try to do that again for Minnesota. It's really hard to do because I convinced myself we're the better team and I believe we're going to win. And then we don't, and I get a little upset about it, but, no, I think that's a pretty good way to go into it, no matter what, especially tough games. And Minnesota is going to be one of those. So I'm going to try to have that same mentality this week.
So it was kind of an interesting, I'm still screaming at my TV, but it was a lot lower pressure viewing experience. And it was pretty enjoyable. So yeah. I'm still looking forward to Love coming back, of course. Sounds like that's going to be before the Vikings, or, a week later at the most. So we're in good shape. But what a great day. And you got to love how for the most part, without exception, I guess the Vikings won, but otherwise the NFC kind of is falling back to the past here. Most people are 1-2 or 2-1. So that's lovely for us, we didn't play our best football week 1 with our starting quarterback. He's hurt. We're in another country. We get back here and we pull off 2 wins with our backup. So who's been on the team for 9 days. So life is pretty dang good in Packers land. Something I was thinking about, though, is Matt LaFleur in the post-Rodgers era. Man, he has landed some freaking haymakers. Yeah. If you think about, NFL franchises, what's the analogy I want to use here? If you think about them as giant, capital ships in naval warfare, right? Okay. Everybody's got their one ship, and they're trying to damage each other, kind of a game outside the game, right? The front office. They're always trying to undermine each other, do things to gain advantages through the draft and personnel. From that standpoint, man, LaFleur has really landed some haymakers. You think about last year, I would certainly think the Bears game week 1 set them back 3-4 weeks. The Vikings on New Year's Eve ended their season. we ended the Bears season, ended the Justin Fields era, destroyed and completely upended the Cowboys organization. And then you go into Tennessee and basically end their season at an 0-3 hole with their former cast-off quarterback. Bro, I mean, LaFleur has ice water in the vein, man. So I'm glad he's our coach. It's a great day. Go Packers.
Yeah, it's certainly been impressive. I think, he started to kind of garner a bad reputation because, like a lot of teams and like the Packers historically, the biggest game and the only one that matters is the one you lost, right? None of the other games that were big games that mattered in order for you to get into the playoffs mattered. None of the playoffs win matters. It's always just the last game. And if the last game is a win, then you won the Super Bowl. If the last game was a loss, then you're a freaking loser. But you're right. I mean, he really has come through in some really impressive ways. There have been some impressive losses. Again, I think we all tend to blame the defense a little bit more than the offense, which maybe sometimes is warranted, sometimes not. Some of those terrible losses last year against like Carolina or whatever nonsense. I don't know if we actually lost at the Giants. Offense played a part in that, but yeah, a lot of games that people just didn't see coming. A lot of creativity, a lot of exciting and good things from this team. And I don't know that, I obviously massive admiration when we went to Jordan Love and started to see him develop. I think that's when it started to switch pretty hard from Matt LaFleur's a joke to, okay, I have to stop calling him a joke. And then it went from that to, all right, this guy's actually really freaking good when they saw what he did with Malik. And I think a similar thing is happening in Minnesota. I mean, he's always been respected. I've always, generally respected him. But you don't know because Kirk Cousins is playing good ball and they got this elite wide receiver and he seems good, but, how good is he? Then you lose your quarterback. You get Sam Darnold, who nobody, including the 49ers, could make look good, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in football. And you go, oh, you're that good. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Touche. So, yeah, it's going to be a good game this week. That's all I know. At least I hope it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all for blowing out the Vikings. That'd be cool. But if we get stomped out by the Vikings at home, I'm not going to take that very well. Just say that.
Hey, Ryan, it's Kyle from Madison again. I wanted to make one other point on this Colts game that I thought was really interesting, and that is just how much headspace LaFleur is getting rent-free in some of these coaches' heads, especially these young coaches on the other side. And certainly he's earned that just with his on-the-field record. I mean, he is a fantastic coach. But I think we saw this sometimes. There was a Rodgers effect like this. Okay, regardless of our coach, it was usually McCarthy, but throughout his career, Rodgers, when he was playing well, he presented extra perceived scoreboard pressure that wasn't really there. But his ability and his prowess made the opposing team feel like the score was greater than it was. Yep. So we would see other teams kind of against Rodgers in the height of his power do things that were really stupid, but because they just didn't think they could keep up. And it was so interesting to me yesterday when you're at home. So you're Tennessee, you're at home, right? You gave up a pick six, but you've only given up, you've held the Packers to 2 field goals and 1 touchdown. You're at home. You have nearly the whole second half of the game. It's 4th and 2 from your own freaking 35.
Yeah, exactly.
From your own 35,
right.
4th and 2. It's 20-7, okay? I understand it's not an ideal scoreline, but bro,
dude, these things change so fast. 1 touchdown, and it's less than 1 score. Like you're a score away from taking the lead.
Young quarterback, it's 4th and 2 from your own 35. I don't know. I've always heard, coaches talk about how you extend the game. You're trying not to make it, the final play of if you get it, the game continues. If you don't, it's over. You're trying to put that off as long as possible.
Right.
Extend the game. Anything can happen. It's a 13-point game. And dude's going for it from his own 35 with 12 minutes left in the third quarter at home against a backup freaking quarterback. And they don't get it, and it's basically the game right there. That was basically the game. Now,
yeah, and not only, I mean, it's a great point about the perceived scoreboard pressure. It's like a really cool metric that I don't think I've ever thought of before in terms of how teams have to strategize when they play you. And you're right. It's insane for a team to panic at the start of the second half to such a degree that you're putting, I don't want to say putting the game, but man, you're putting it really out of reach if you don't convert this in the hands of Will Levis. And it's unnecessary. Listen, at some point, there's something to be said about playing the field position game. There are times you can just feel it where it's like, man, we got to dig ourselves out of this hole. You know, if you get a good punt and you can perfectly punt one from that distance, I think that's a great distance to be able to pin them back inside the 10. If you start playing that field position game, you tuck them back in there, you go 3 and out, you get the ball back with solid field position and just reset. You know, you start winning that field position battle, and it almost feels like we got to just let them score because we can't dig ourselves out of this freaking hole. Start playing that game. Play the field position game. It is crazy. I mean, it's not fourth quarter with 4 minutes left. And again, like if you don't convert, which they didn't, this is auto points. It's just stupid.
We'll never know. But if you punt it there, maybe you get it back.
Right.
It's crazy to me that was.
And why wouldn't you lean on your defense, which is stronger than your offense anyways? That's your strength. Punt it. Rely on your defense. If your defense can't win you the game, you're not going to win it anyways.
Backup quarterback, that LaFleur and the pressure the offense puts on, or at least the perceived ability to score at any time that the LaFleur offense has, is clearly making this young coach go for it in what would otherwise be just a stupid situation. I don't know what the stats say there, but I can't imagine they tell you to go for it from your own 35 with that much game left.
No way.
So I just think that speaks to the brilliance of probably LaFleur and that offense more than anything, you know, that he's actually entertaining that. So just wanted to bring that up. Peace.
It's a very good point. That is a very good point. And I don't necessarily expect the Vikings to panic to that extent, but it is always a source of pressure. It beyond that, and kind of where I thought you were going, but you didn't when you said perceived scoreboard pressure is, and I guess it's similar, but this feeling of we need a big lead in order to win this. You know, like this is going to be a team that scores 30, so we really got to ramp it up. And so rather than kind of playing this slow game or whatever, like you normally typically would, you feel this pressure to kind of just play in an aggressive way that isn't necessary. You know, it's perfectly within your, and I think this is kind of how, I don't want to say Rodgers got exposed, but you know, when the Packers were unstoppable, I think the first thing that defenses did to finally learn how to stop or slow down the Packers was to just not be scared of them. I remember it was the Denver Broncos. It was the undefeated Broncos with a great defense and the undefeated Packers with an unstoppable offense. And the Packers got the crap beat out of them. And essentially all they did is like they stopped playing off scared, zone coverage. And they said, I ain't scared of these freaking wide receivers. They started manning them up. They started getting physical. Messed up all the timing, started playing aggressive, going after the quarterback. Packers didn't know how to handle it. So, I mean, all that to say, you know, the Packers were able to win a lot of games just because before the game even started, teams started playing the wrong way because they were scared.
Hey, Kyle from Madison. Just went through the broadcast copy of that game again. And I think there's like kind of a semi-elephant in the room that I kind of had been thinking about. There's so many other exciting things about this win. But as I'm watching it again, one thing I keep thinking to myself is, if the Packers offense can accomplish even 70% of the ground game that we are currently doing when Jordan Love comes back, this is going to be an absurdly difficult team. What was already a difficult team to defend, this is going to be an absurdly difficult team.
Sure.
You know, I think that this injury, as crazy as it seems the night it happened, this is going to benefit the Packers. And we've seen this on our team. We've seen this on other teams, right? You lose a huge piece, and now you got to make it work with these other guys, and then you get the piece back. Sometimes it takes a week or two, but eventually you end up a better unit altogether because you've had to learn these other facets of your team that you might have forgot. If the Packers can run the ball like this, I mean, God bless Malik Willis, but he ain't Jordan Love. Everybody that says he is, you can just safely ignore.
Sure.
Right? I mean, Jordan Love, if they're going to single up these guys because they're putting guys in the box, it is going to be time to eat. Time to eat. And I don't know, man. So in my fantasy league, like Christian Watson was just hanging out there in the waivers. I swooped him up. I know he really hadn't done a whole lot till yesterday, but I picked him up because, man, you got to think if they're running the ball like that. Now, what the hell do you do as a defense when the Packers can go 4 wide or even 5 wide? They can all block you. They can all block your DBs into the sideline on running plays, our receivers. And, by the way, they can also school you as receivers. Oh, and by the way, there isn't a number one. Now, yes, production-wise, it's Reed. But I'm just saying there isn't a traditional number one. So it's like, okay, you can't do the Belichick thing where you double what he used to double your second wide receiver, right? Isn't that how he would do it? I can't remember. But he'd take your first guys away.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Right? It's like, you can't do that with the Packers. They got too many weapons. So, I don't know. I just, especially like against the Vikings, for example, if you can get out there and run against that front, I mean, my goodness. The table is set here, my man. All right, I'll leave you be. Have a good one.
No, you're right. And that, I am nervous because, I talked about this online with Mr. Bruce, but I'm nervous because, again, Malik was almost so perfect that it's a standard you can't reach. Like, Jordan's going to have more incompletions and things like that. But you're right that he's not Jordan. And I just talked about it with Clayton posting some of the clips and Christian going down the field, and he's not throwing it to him. The reason they're able to stack the box and take the runaways because that's how they're playing it against Malik. And it was effective because we wanted to lean on that pretty heavily, and it was tough sledding. Bottom line, if you try to play that way against Jordan Love, he's gonna throw it to Christian Watson. Like it's a touchdown to Christian Watson. And that's why teams are not going to do it. They're not going to play that way. So what does that do? That opens up the run. And I'm excited to actually see this thing in action. We saw it a little bit against the Eagles, but it was a really, really, really ugly game. Like it didn't look good anywhere. Jacobs didn't look good. Like nothing looked good. So I'm hopeful that we see this team that we've been watching. That's, the drops are kind of fixed and a lot of stuff, the penalties are still bad, but a lot of this stuff is kind of humming now. We'll see about Jordan and how he's doing when he comes back, but that's the whole idea is, again, it's about spreading out the field. If you play in a confined space, this is why Peyton Manning was talking about on a couple weeks ago on Monday night. He doesn't like being up on the 5-yard line. He wants to be back by the 20. Leave a little space. It's hard to get a touchdown when you're so condensed. And that's the whole point. That's the entire philosophy behind the West Coast offense is it's all about spread. It's why he needs that speed guy. You spread it out from sideline to sideline so that they can't condense in a small area, and then you also stretch them vertically. And when you create that much space, that's how you get Jaden Reed wide open across the middle on 3rd and 14 for a first down. And you look at it and go, how does that happen? It's because 11 guys have too much space to cover. That's the problem Matt LaFleur creates for you. And with Jordan Love, it's going to force them to spread out again because Jordan will throw that ball to Christian 40 yards down the field. He'll have no hesitation about that. Or Reed or whoever else is down there. And so you have to cover space. You can't clump and just fight downhill. It ain't going to work. So that's what I'm excited for, is getting back to that and getting to see this offense the way it's supposed to work. And again, I mean, I really hope that the whole team learned a lot from this. I mean, again, a lot of guys had to step up, and I hope that they take that leadership to heart and say, I need to keep playing like this my entire career. But Matt LaFleur in particular, he had to dig deep. And I want him to stay with that. Obviously, some of this is Malik Willis specific, perhaps, but I want to see it when Jordan. I don't want him to start leaning back into, the old Aaron Rodgers' philosophy of I'm just going to call a vanilla offense and let Rodgers be great. Don't do that. Don't do that to Jordan. Don't put that on his shoulders of I'm just going to call our straight-up offense, just spread it out and let them run their routes and hope he finds the right guy on rhythm. I mean, that's great, but, just lean into this, especially in this game against the Vikings. This is a big game. This is a game for NFC North dominance. Lions will contest it, but I don't care. This is to hold the crown. Get in that bag and dig. If Malik Willis can handle that array of craziness, so can Jordan. It's a big playbook. Use it. It's my only request. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for your calls. We got a pretty big backlog, so we're doing good. We got 15 more to get through. Not quite 15 because I skipped some, but we'll call it 10 more to get through or so. So we're all set, but please get your calls in if you'd like to. Again, new callers go to the front of the line. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.